So here's what I want you to begin to think about. I want you to think about the 3 P's of your life. Your private life, where you have your intimate relationship with your significant other, your spouse or your partner. I want you to think about your personal life, the relationships that you have with your family members and friends. And then I also want you to think about your professional life, your career, your occupation, how you earn your living. So the information that I share with you today will be applicable to the 3 P's, your private life, your personal life, and your professional life. Okay, Wells Fargo, you gotta wake up. Okay. So I wanna give you context. So I can't take all the credit. And this presentation is based on an upcoming book called You Don't Have to Sell Out to Stand Out. So my co-author is actually in the back. So can we give a round of applause to Katie Roberto back there? So over the course of the next couple hours, you're going to have what I call aha moments. And I want to define an aha moment according to Oprah Winfrey. And here's what Oprah says. An aha moment is a piece of information that comes to you. And if you do something with that information, it can transform your life. But here's what's interesting. When you think about growth and development in your personal and professional life, you got to take the information that you get and you got to apply it. So we're in an information age right now, so you have all the information in the world available to you. But here is what distinguishes successful people from unsuccessful people. It is how they apply the information that they have. Now, I grew up in inner city Chicago, and I grew up in quote unquote the hood. I saw a lot of people with potential. By show of hands, how many people know people with potential, but they're not doing anything with it? And so sometimes you can meet individuals who may have a little potential, but they take the information that they get from a mentor, and we'll talk more about that, and they take it and they apply it, they use it, and this is how we get change. This is how we get growth and development in our lives. So being a college professor, I had a sabbatical. So I had worked 7 years, so I can either take a whole year off or I can take 1 semester. So I'm kind of greedy. I'm like, no, I want the whole year. So I took a whole year off, and I had to live on 2/3 of my salary. That was kind of challenging, but what kept me going was my passion for this topic. Now I'm a communications professor, and I give you context. So I'm teaching this course, interpersonal communication. It's really teaching individuals how to communicate what's going on in their head and what's going on in their heart. I like to tell people that's what I spend my life doing. So one day I'm sitting in this class, and at the end of the semester, the students have to give a presentation. And this one group, there's 5 women and 1 guy. And I call this my awesome group because these students are on fire. They're coming to my office hours. Professor Davis, we're thinking about this. What do you think about this idea? We're thinking about these visual aids. What do you think about this? I mean, I'm looking forward to this presentation. Everyone in this group equally participates. The day of the speech, all the women take the back seat. Ryan steps up front. Who did people attribute the leader of that group to? To Ryan. But I knew that everyone in that group equally participated. And being a caring person that I am, I still remember I went home that evening, and it's in my mind. It was really disturbing to me. And as a classroom leader, I began to ask myself, Jermaine, what are you going to do about this? How can you use your leadership influence as a college professor to get individuals thinking about gender differences? So the next day I went to class, and I started asking my students, how do we view gender differences? Are there gender differences? Do we make them up? Is it a figment of our imagination? So we had a really good dialogue the rest of the semester. Now, Katie Roberto at this time is working at Best Buy in the Human Resources and Department and the Diversity team. And at this time, I'm doing work with Best Buy. And Katie had always said, hey, Jermaine, I would love to work with you on a project. So I had the sabbatical coming up. I called her up, I said, Katie, I got the idea. I said, let's do something around women's leadership. And I'm nervous to tell her this because I'm a guy, if you didn't know. How could I go out talking about women's issues? I'm a guy. So what we did, we interviewed 127 women. And one of the things that we looked at, we wanted a diverse pool of individuals. We looked at different age brackets, right? We wanted to get a good sample, a good pool. So we know now that there's 4 generations in the workplace, right? So the mature or the traditionalists, the baby boomers, Gen X, and the millennials. This is the first time in US work history where there's 4 generations that exist in the workplace. So I'm happy to say that we had the opportunity to leverage the experiences and insights of these 4 generations. Then also, we wanted to look at what Asian women thought, what African American women thought, what Latinas, what whites, what Native Americans. We wanted people from different cultural backgrounds. So we also were very intentional and deliberate about that experience as well. And purposely, we did not use any audio or video equipment because we wanted individuals to truly open up. Now, one of the things I know from being a speaker and teaching communications is that sometimes when you stick a video camera in people's face or an audio device in people's face, what do you think happens? Sometimes they shut down. And then they're more concerned about, how's my hair? Well, I don't have to worry about my hair, but you know, they're like, how's my hair? So we really wanted people to be authentic, open, and honest about their experiences. And when we first started the project, the book project, it was really looking at how do women succeed and thrive in a male-dominated industry, team, or organization. We really wanted to extract what are your secrets of success. That's what we're really looking at. And so we asked 8 core questions. And we asked questions about work-life balance, which we'll talk about. We asked questions about communication, about leadership style, communication style. We asked them questions about what barriers have you faced in your career. So the formal interview lasted 60 to 90 minutes, formal. But there was times when we first got to the coffee shop. Sometimes we were in the bagel shop. Sometimes we were in people's offices. Sometimes we were sitting at bars and we were talking to people and then information started. Sometimes we interviewed people on an airplane and we extracted information there. And 90% of these interviews were in person, and then there were some people we just couldn't get to. And I just want to personally say that this changed my life. I remember during my sabbatical, one of my colleagues came up to me and she said, Jermaine, how's your sabbatical going? And I looked at Elaine and I said, Elaine, I said, this project has changed my life. She says, what's the #1 thing you've learned thus far? I said, I've learned that I have male privilege. And she looked at me and she smiled. Now, Elaine is like 30 years my senior, so I think she was glowing internally like, you see the light, brother, you see the light.